Hello everyone, Life of Rue here. Today I'm talking about how Sweden is combating Corona or COVID-19. Because I've seen a lot of news reports this week and last week and so on, especially in the US and America, saying that look at Sweden. They are doing, soft lockdown. It's working for them. That's great. We should do the same thing. I want to say you are dead wrong with that. Okay, so first of all, I'm not saying that Sweden as a government or whatever is doing the wrong thing. I don't necessarily think they are doing the wrong thing. But what you have to remember is that Sweden is Sweden, right? And the US or whatever is not a country. And so I did a lecture actually last year about this topic, way before the corona happened, about how you have to adapt whatever you're developing, an app or phone, right? Or whatever you're producing, right? What system you have, management and so on. And to adapt it to the culture, right? And so I like to do, psychology videos, right? Talking about human behavior and so on. So let's talk about Swedish behavior here down, right? So what is interesting and why it's working in Sweden to some extent, but it's a very major counter evidence of why it was not working in Sweden. It's from other countries. And that is that because Swedes are just, simply said, right, are always doing the corona thing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? Swedes are always doing social distancing. So I really mean that. So I'm gonna have a little discussion here about so on, but I really mean that. Without even going in further into the details, explain stuff and so on, right? Just trust me on that Swedes are always like, don't touch me, stay away from me, right? Go another spot over there. Yeah, very, very private, right? That's the Swedish culture, and it's been that for a very, very long time. So the reason then, from the obvious main reason, right, why the whole soft lockdown thing and so on, and why Sweden isn't that sick, even though Stockholm has some issues, but generally Sweden do pretty fine. It's because Swedes were already always doing, the corona, don't hug me, don't touch me, don't talk to me, right? And that's the biggest thing. Immediately, you have to look at Sweden, how people are behaving in Sweden, the general Swedish population, and they were already protecting themselves from corona before corona even happened. So that's a massive thing, right? Because it means that even when then corona started coming to Sweden, people were acting like you should act, right? This is the thing, should, right? People were already doing that without being told to do that, right? Without, the warnings and so on. So of course, less people got sick, right? So it's like a very obvious thing there. I think immediately you have to remember when it comes to Sweden, right? And then of course, I think mainly people are wrong when they're saying that Sweden's solution is great because it works there. Yeah, it works there. But anyway, I think the issues then, the biggest thing is again this classic meme, which this is exactly how it is in Sweden. This image here, I love this meme, but it's literally how it is in Sweden. People are never at each other, they take this thing, you don't talk to your neighbor, you don't talk to people and so on, right? That is a very, very Swedish thing. So for example, one thing I do, even when I'm not living in Sweden, so I don't really, I don't say I'm the arch, I'm just comes to the anti-Swede, but one thing I do as a Swede, and every Swede does the same thing, is that when I'm gonna leave where I live, right? When I lived in an apartment, I lived in Dublin for 3 years, and when I'm gonna leave my apartment, what I do is that check out the keyhole. I'm like, is the neighbor here? No, it's no one here. And if I see someone, right, I'm like, I gotta wait. I can't talk to my neighbor, not because I'm afraid of my neighbor, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to have this small talk, and I want to get the name. Like the biggest Swedish dream is to not know your neighbor's dream. If you don't know the name of your neighbor, then you have succeeded as a Swede, right? And the second best thing is to have a neighbor that's wealthy, a little wealthier than you, a little more greener, garden than you have as well. So you can complain about his garden. Yeah, that's the best thing. Yeah, just having a little bit better at everything you have. Doesn't mean he can be poor or rich, but you do better than you, so you can complain about that. Then you have the ultimate Swedish dream. But anyway, so Swedes, and I even do it too. I was like, I want to talk to people. Yeah, that is like the biggest thing. Right? You want to avoid people. You want to be like, I'm gonna get this on, right? So, for example, one thing you always see in Sweden, and I mean literally, this is exactly how it is. I have a meme here, but this is literally how it is in Sweden. Is this thing sitting on the bus like a Swede, and this is absolutely how it is. There's an image from Sweden here, and this is how it is. So if you go on a bus in Sweden, and it has some seats open, right? You never sit next to someone. If you sit next to someone in Sweden, they're gonna be like, this guy is clearly like a rapist or a psychopathic murderer on rampage. They're gonna be afraid of you. And I don't even mean that for like a joke. I mean literally. Like I've been on the bus in Sweden, and they have this situation where there are several seats freely, right? And someone sits next to me. I'm like, what are you doing? You have like 4 seats. Why are you? Yeah, you get really You seriously, you think that something's wrong with them. And even worse, start talking to you? You're like, talking to me? I don't know you. I don't know you. Let me be a free. Yeah. That's the Swedes are. They're very, very private. But it's also very, very important to never sit next to anyone in Sweden. And I really mean that. Courses are different if it's rush hour, right? It's completely packed in the bus or the subway or train or whatever. Then people have to understand it. But if there is another seat open, you never sit next to another person. If you have two other seats on the side of the bus, never sit next to another person. They will seriously think that you are some kind of psychopath. You're like, this guy is wrong with yeah. So, of course, that is a culture in Sweden. That's the human behavior in Sweden. But everyone knows it. And the thing is that it's important to understand the difference between culture, right? The difference between like social acceptance, right? And what people actually want to do. So, for example, I'm a very extrovert person. I like talking to people. So when I lived in Dublin then, I lived for a while, right? I love that. Because in Dublin, people sit next to me. And they're like, oh, how you morning, lad? And I'm like, oh, it's morning, yeah. And it's fun and it's happy, yeah. I liked it. Talking to the bus driver, saying, good morning and how's your day and that stuff. I liked that, yeah. So when I lived in Dublin, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't like this Swedish behavior. I rather talk to someone on the bus, even if they're a stranger, for 30-minute bus ride, having something to talk about. Yeah, I'd rather do that, right? That being said, right, that's like my actual, what I actually want to do, right? That's my personal human behavior, right? If I could decide what I want to do myself. But because I understand the Swedish culture, I understand, right, how the society in Sweden works, when I'm in Sweden, I still would never do it, right? Because if I tried to do that, as a kid I tried to do that, people would be like, this kid is effed up, right? Yeah. So I learned quickly, right, as a kid, that you couldn't do that, right? Yeah, because people would be seriously afraid of you, and I really mean that. People would think you are, you're a scary stranger, especially if the general opposite, right? If you're talking about a girl about you're a boy, yeah, she can think you're kind of rape, yeah. So you can't do it, right? So you have to understand the difference between, of course, what people want to do, right, and what people are forced to do, right, in the human behavior or of how to understand the culture and so on, right? Yeah. So anyway, so everyone in Sweden knows that. Everyone in Sweden knows this is the actual case. You have to sit next to other people, never talk to anyone, avoid them, right? And if you can, if you do it, you're gonna be, people are gonna be afraid of you. And of course, we go back to Corona, right, and COVID-19, right, so to speak. Of course, that means, right, that as people are acting like this already in Sweden, they never, never close each other, right? Always avoiding next to other people, never talking to strangers, right, and so on. Of course, that's perfect for avoiding Corona. And then you have to really remember that, right? When you talk about Sweden's solution to the Corona issue compared to other countries, because in Sweden people are already avoiding each other all the time, and and that's the truth, right? So people are always doing that stuff. For example, I did a video of myself where I did. So last year I was in my hometown for a week or so, and when I was leaving my hometown, I was on the train. And I saw that I had a whole train car to myself. Best place of my friend, and I was like, man, Swedish dream, is no one here? I was like, yeah, baby. It's like the ultimate trip. No one is here. Yeah, that's how Swedes are, right? Yeah. Of course, I was joking Morley because he's also a very extrovert person, and we both kind of dislike the general Swedish, behavior of like, don't touch me, never talk to me, kind of behavior right there. So it was more like a sarcastic, but still, that's how it is, right? So. Because of that reason, because the main reason of avoiding other people, you are obviously gonna be better against Corona, right? And this also extends to a lot of other stuff. So transportation, of course, way safer in Sweden than when it comes to Corona, right? And bus and train and so on. People avoid other. Except again, during rush hour, if you're like Stockholm, Göteborg sometimes, but if you are especially then in like Stockholm, rush hour. Of course, it's gonna be packed. You can't really, touch it. But yeah, so then people understand that and it's unavoidable. But that being said, right, if you are in the rush hour in Stockholm, you still can't talk to other people. You can communicate. Yeah, everyone's sitting there, like living their own thing. So that really is the Swedish behavior. And actually, I have a little side story from that. So a few years ago, I was in Stockholm, and I've been in a party. It's a game company, and they had some kind of an anniversary party. I was going back to the train or the subway, and people was late, people were drunk, and so on. And even if people are drunk, people are still fighting. Yeah, even when they're drunk, it might be, of course. Don't get me wrong. If people know each other, right, it's like a party. enter the train, etc. Yeah. But even several drunk people next to each other, they're all like, no. even in that sense, no. But there was this woman that was very, very drunk, and she was kind of funny because she was sitting there, and she had started saying that. She was like, man, this is so weird in Sweden. And she was like from like Poland. Yeah, she was like Poland. Yeah, this is so weird in Sweden. We're all here. We're all kind of happy, kind of tipsy, and nobody's saying anything. God, I hate you people. What's wrong with you, everyone? She was getting all like red up there. She was like, come on, talk to me. So you see it. She was getting like a mental breakdown. I can't handle it anymore. What's wrong with everyone here? And I think it was hilarious because I was like, nice, I like you, woman. Let's talk. So so even at like when people are in that sense, losing their how I say it, the inhibitors, right, of the behavior in Sweden. Even at that point, they're still like, and of course, most people, right, when this woman was like, "What's wrong with you? Let's talk." They are like, "Shit, I am going to the other cart." Yeah, they're like, "Whoa, she's a kind of stranger. Let's talk. I'm gonna leave. Yeah, I'm jumping up the next train, right?" So people is trying to run away instead of, I'm not joking. I mean, literally, people are leaving the cart immediately, and that's what we do. It's the same, and there's one thing for that is like a side point I want to mention, right? For example, right, it's kind of same in Japan for that matter, right? If you ever talk on the train in the phone and so on, right, everyone hates it. Yeah, like that's of course it's the same generally in the world, but man, in Sweden, that's like a typical thing, and that I was gonna throw it a little bit here out there, but don't worry, it's okay, better. So for example, then one reason why people don't like immigrants in Sweden is to say it honestly, is because they talk on trains and buses and so on. And I mean it seriously, that because they are talking on the phone, or talking loudly on the phone. People like, people is wrong. But Swedes never tell you that. Yeah, but Swedes never communicate, and they are very conflict afraid, right? So they will never tell you that. So they just be like, okay, that guy is horrible. Yeah, hate that person. And then unfortunately, then it's much more common right on the country, so right. So you see that more for immigrants, and then Swedes are like, oh god, immigrants. Yeah, so that's kind of how. Definitely one reason why people don't like it, honestly. But anyway, let's talk about immigrants then. So yes, immigrants we didn't know, but just very briefly here. The counter evidence to the massive counter evidence why this corona solution, COVID, soft lockdown and so on wouldn't work for the countries, right? Because again, Sweden, as I talked about, is the Swedish behavior that makes it work, right? So to speak, Swedish human behavior, right? And the culture Sweden has. When you look at the immigrants in Sweden then, so Stockholm then, so I mean I haven't been there since the corona thing, but if you look at the data, and this is straight up data, right? Okay, who's getting the most sick in Sweden? Yeah, it's everyone in the the course, the immigrants. Yeah, and why is that? Because they're not acting like Swedes, right? See what I mean? It's not more complicated than that. And that doesn't mean, so I'm, this is absolutely no anti, but again, that's the point, right? It's nothing to do with, it's just another culture, right? Yeah. So the people that are most sick in Sweden, data value wise, you find them in heavy, very very heavy districts with a lot of non-Swedes, right? Yeah, and they are much more sicker here compared to the heavy Swedish districts. Just straight up, yeah. And that's because they are talking to each other, right? They are meeting each other more, right? They go and visit people more. That's the thing too, right? For that matter, right? So, for example, right, when your grandma gets sick in Sweden, I mean, I love my grandma, so I visit my grandma, and I wouldn't because of Corona, but I visit my grandma, not talk to her every day on the phone. But most Swedes, they don't talk to their grandma. Most Swedes, they don't talk to their mother. You know what I mean? No, but honestly, that's Sweden is like that. You don't really, you don't like call maybe you call your family, but to visit your family and so on in Sweden, I mean, of course you do it. I don't say they never visit her, but they do it very, very less, right? You don't see so many grandkids visiting the grandparents, voluntarily. I mean, obviously it's boring. No, but I love my grandparents. But yeah, like you don't really see that so much, right, in Sweden, as in other countries. There's not really that respect for the elderly and so on. It's completely non-void in Sweden, right? Yeah. So that immediately there also is different, right? Because if you look at the non-Swedish population, they are much more inclined to actually go and visit their grandma. Not because they're sick, but I mean, it's visit grandma because, I visit grandma today, yeah. A Swede never does that. I mean, I do that because I like my grandmother, but you know, like the general Swede don't do that, and I really mean that they don't do that. People are always kind of weird when I talk to Sweden. Like, come again, man. You talk to grandmother? Why? Yeah. It's kind of like that. So they really don't care about, you know, the elderly. They don't really care about that stuff. I'm not saying, of course, no one does that, but I mean, in general consensus, you don't do that. And compared to other cultures, you know, Sweden might be the least caring about the elderly and so on. And I don't mean, you know, it's meeting them and so on. So of course, immediately too, you see that if you look at the data values for, yeah, again, the non-Swedish cultures, right, they have a lot more sick elderly, because obviously their grandkids or their, you know, kids or whatever, so the grandkids would visit them, right, before everyone knew about, of course, the actual corona, and they will, of course, be inhibited, you know, and yeah, they would carry this children, yeah. So you see it a lot more there. And that, of course, makes me come to the conclusion, or at least to, you know, I can't say it like factually, this is going to be work here, or it will not work here, but it's reasonable to conclude, right, that then that culture, of course, the non-Swedish culture, will handle the Swedish solution worse, right? Yeah, because in Sweden you can still go outside. There's no lockdown. You know, people can just move around. Talk to my siblings, and their schools are closed, but they are in college, so that's closed. But otherwise, the normal schools are still open. So college schools, they are closed. So my siblings are working from home, right? They're doing like, you know, Skype and Zoom and so on, yeah, and stuff like that, right? But otherwise, schools still open, stuff like that. Yeah, they have school on, they go for that and so on, right? So Sweden doesn't really close down. But the thing is that the chance of like a 10-year-old kid visiting his grandmother, you know, voluntarily in Sweden is like none. Yeah, who does that? I'm the only person ever. Yeah, but no, seriously. So it's like, yes, Sweden has a very soft lockdown. You actually are going to school still. It's you know, if you're younger then, you're still doing all the other stuff and so on, right? But the thing is that people just don't meet each other anyway. They avoid each other all the time, as I mentioned, on bus and train and so on. And I can also stand that. They're talking about bars, restaurants, whatever, right? If you're out eating in Sweden and you have like an empty table, you know, you or one table, like 4 or 5 more chairs, no one's ever gonna sit next to you. Like that would happen. That's never gonna happen unless, of course, it's completely packed. But otherwise, no, that would happen. There's one difference though in a classic thing in Sweden, that people are drinking, right? So people, if you're out at a bar, and not bar in the middle of the day, but like in the night, right? Everyone's drinking, and that's like one of the few things people get drunk and they meet up. Yeah, so then you can do that. Then it's next to people. Then you can tell people and so on, right? And that, for a side note here, that's a big thing then in Sweden, right? The people get drunk, have sex, and the next day they're like, should we date? Yeah, that's a very Swedish thing, and everyone in Sweden recognizes that thing. Yeah, that's how. You don't really like ask someone out on a date beforehand. It's more like you go out, you drink, you sleep with them, and then you wake up the next morning, and then you talk about your interests and hobbies, and be like, maybe we should be dating. Yeah, that's how you do it in Sweden. Yeah, so Swedes are kind of weird in that sense, but they're very, very, you know, yeah, this thing all don't touch me, yeah, until they're very, very drunk, right? Then it's like touch me, yeah. So it's a very rule, I guess, like a society culture rule in Sweden, that if you're out, for example, on a gym, talking to someone on the gym, that's like a no, you kick you out immediately. Yeah, that's crazy, right? But if you're out and it's late in a bar, you can talk to people. So at the few places where you're allowed to actually touch people, then people doing it very, very quickly and so it's kind of a weird thing there, right? So it's kind of like at 90% of the places you can't do that, and then the few places you can, people go, wow, we can do it here, yeah. So it's kind of like a weird thing, right? Probably why we have that nudist beaches too, and so yeah, it's kind of like a weird inhibitor place. People go crazy, right? So not only for the bar, it's not only for the, you know, the trains, but also for the bars and so on. Because if you go to a bar in the middle of the day, yeah, then you can't talk to anyone. Then it'll be weird, yeah. If you go to a drink, yeah, then it'll be like, oh, what's this guy, yeah, and so on, right? You can't talk to someone random at like the convenience store. Then you have to be, yeah, so kind of, you know, sex offender. Yeah, you have to be weird when you talk to someone at that places. So of course everyone's always doing this shit, right? Yeah. And Swedes likes to stand in queue in line, right? Because it's behavior, they want to queue up. So And then when you queue up, you try to also queue up at the bus. You try to, when you queue up like this, right? You want to queue up in the distance from each other. So, and they do it in the convenience store, at the airport, whatever. Yeah, they're always doing that kind of lining up. The distance is like, don't touch me. We have to have this queue line. So yeah, so Sweden is a masterful culture when it comes to this thing. Yeah, it at every regard, but especially then of course again at the commutes, right, which makes the corona not spread that much. And it's it doesn't affect away. And then you combine that with never really meeting each other, talking to each other. Oh yeah, and the last thing I would say to this is a little specific, but still true for this for Stockholm, is that Sweden is very, how I say it, IT progressive. And I don't mean progressive as in, PC, because it's obviously true in Sweden too, very, very progressive. But I mean progressive in like, technology, right? So for example, in Sweden, flex hours is very, very common. If you work in IT, so if you're like a programmer or you ever write design, you can sort of that, right? Or, producer, you usually have flex hours. If you work in, most jobs in Stockholm then, a lot of IT jobs, so right. A lot of businesses, a lot of banks, even to some degree, again has flex hours. I don't mean like sitting at the bank, counter, but like be some kind of administrator at the bank. You probably have flex hours, and a lot of those jobs then also allows you to work from home, right? So you probably know about that, right? A lot of people, of course, during Corona now working from home, right? Yeah, of course, obviously. But in Sweden then, working from home is already a well-established thing. I'm not saying that a lot of people work from home in Sweden just generally, every day, but they definitely work from home. Like in Sweden, it's very easy to say, hey, can I be home on Friday because I have a contractor coming from a kitchen? I have no problem, yes. It's very easy to stay at home for like a day or two, like once a week, maybe once a month and so on. That's a very, very common thing in Sweden. So for example, I went to Sweden a few years ago. I was working with this game, right? And I was scripting, I was coding it, and I was doing some UX and so on, did game design and so on. But basically, I went from home for a large part of that game. And I could still sit my computer right, I could do my, where is it? Here you go. Use my badass keyboard. I put on some badass effects there now. But yeah, no, actually I usually have it like this. but I have a coding, gaming keyboard, yeah, of course. So I could do that right while also staying at home, yeah. And that's a very common thing there in Sweden. People have the access to work from home, right? And for example, one of that game, one of the colleagues I work with, he would usually be home on Fridays. There was a technical artist. She would always go to. She had some. I want to go into private stuff here, but it's basically she needed some, stuff on Tuesdays. So she would be home on. I won't say what, but yeah, on Tuesdays. So she would just be home on Tuesdays every week, and it's like, yeah, fine. She would sit at home and do her technical stuff from home, right, with the computer. So it's very, very common in Sweden then, especially the IT, right, and of course Stockholm, high IT, they have the possibility to work from home. So the last thing also then that makes Sweden very adjusted to Corona immediately, right, is people could be like, oh, Corona stuff, let's work from home then, and everyone's staying at home, yeah, everyone's already prepared. In a lot of other countries, right, you heard about that the studios have to have people setting up at home, getting the VPN working, and this and this and this, and it's a lot of work to like get 100 employees be able to work from their home computer, home desk, right? But in Sweden, 100 employee IT company, everyone has basically already set stuff up, right? Not all in the same time, but maybe one day this career. So everyone is already ready with their VPN, this stuff, and having the programs, whatever they're using, like Visual Studio, whatever they're using, for coding, whatever. That's already home, right? They already have it, prepared. So that's the last thing there that makes the Swedish culture, because they are so IT progressive, with flex hours, a lot of freedom to make your own. I want to come early, I want to come late. Being able to maybe work on. I was one company, for example, where it's like you could work normally. You would work, Monday to Thursday, but on Friday it was kind of like everyone's kind of getting there on Friday, and then on lunch we play some games, and have fun together. Then people will go home and work kind of afterward. It's like a half Friday days and stuff like that. That's quite common in Sweden to have the kind of systems, you know, walking around, right, and so on. So that also makes Sweden be like that. You know, it's so easy to work from home in Sweden, and not easy, but people are already prepared. I think that's like a very big thing here, because it means that the company doesn't want to lose money, right? So the company is like, well, you have to come into work, you know, we get money, right? Or else you get fired. That would be a case if, for example, America or whatever, right? Yeah, that would be more like we have to get here because we have to do this stuff, yeah. But in Sweden, it's like, well, you have to work. Oh, don't worry, I already have my stuff ready at home. And they're like, yeah, you do work. So there's no, you know, threshold to get people actually started working, right? Because they're already doing maybe a message once a week, maybe once a month or so, right? But even if someone is doing once a month, they're still home and prepared to be able to work every day from home, right? So that's my last note there, right? That you have that a system, especially in Stockholm, then, which of course is the biggest city, right? You have a system there already. When everyone is like, work from home. Yeah, and the companies are not gonna complain because they know that you can immediately start working from home, right? You are already prepared for it, and it works. So, all right, that's the video about Corona, COVID, and the social distancing in Sweden, right? I hope you can understand here now where I'm coming from, because I think people having a really wrong opinion about that. I want to call out any names here, but I've seen a lot of YouTube, especially in America, that they're saying that, look at Sweden, we should also be more free, have no lockdown. It works perfectly over there. It's like, well, because Swedes are always locking down, and so it's a more private, and they go home after work. I sit at home anyway. So it's already acting. Basically, Sweden was already acting like it was Corona, right? You know, before it happened. Anyway, that's the video. See you guys and have a great day.